Is day game inefficient or overrated?
I think it's a tool that you can use if you're in the right city. Of course, if you're in the right city, then places with parts like London, Amsterdam, places like that, Europe. There's people do go out in the streets. It's very easy to talk in the streets. They also speak outside the pubs in the streets. If you go to Lisbon in Portugal, the culture is the streets. They go into the bar, they come back out. There's no air condition, and they're partying on the streets. So yes, there is a culture for that gutter game, we call it, right? I used to do it when I used to get the girls into my clubs for a night. You'd have to like pick up the girls on the streets and bring them in. So there is a culture for it, but I think that the true essence is being in a nightclub, lording the nightclub, owning the nightclub, using sets to merge sets, bouncing off sets. There's so much more skill set used in a nightclub, especially with group theory. Day games normally the one set. I mean, when I did day game, I was opening huge groups. No one does that anymore. I've watched all the videos. They're opening one sets in the day. Why? That's very stalkerish. I don't like that. I want to open the group and entertain the group and have the group win the group over. And then obviously the girl I want is attracted to me, if not the whole group, you know. Whereas I'm going, wait for that girl to turn the quiet corner where I'm going to run up to her and go, "Oh, you look really beautiful. I saw you from over there. Are you a nurse?" Like, what's that? That doesn't make any sense to me. So that was a model going on for a while. That was people trying to sell a basic game, is the way I call it. So no, obviously the nightclubs where they won, the bars, the cocktail clubs, the rooftop patios. That's where the game is actually won, and everything else is a bonus round. Doesn't mean you can't find a woman of your dreams in a day. You definitely can. But don't be the stalker that's chasing her around 5 different streets and jumping up and tapping her on the shoulder, or running and jumping in front of her and going, "Stop, stop, stop," like a salesman or a change collector or a charity worker. Don't do that. No one wants that.
So day
There
game
are
can
ways of
be
doing it.
done. Day game can be done. It is valid, but you should apply a skill set to day game. I don't think that beginning when you're first starting out in pickup, I don't think that beginning with doing single sets is really going to assist you later down the road. I think you should start with the three set. Most women are in groups, so you may as well, especially if they're beautiful, so you may as well get accustomed to opening groups immediately. The single sets are bonus rounds.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
not a day game guy at all. I mean, like, I like the electricity and the neon of the light of the evening. To me,
would you like a bit of gutter game though, Zan?
well,
When you're out at night, when the bar's moving between each
oh, I
other, and
like I'm
yeah, I know you
believe
like
me,
that.
I'm a night owl, man. I'm an alley cat. I prowl. I like to prowl at night, and then come crawling in and purr and then in the morning. I've done that all my life. The day for me is like, no, it's not my style. I like the
Is that
potentiality and
because we
electric
is that because
of the
we
night.
turn to dust in the day?
Exactly. My vampire roots, man.
There are a lot more variables to use at night for sure. The social energy of the groups, warming up the whole venue as opposed to just going in direct. Um, there's just there's more tools at our disposal in a social circle, at a party, in a night game venue, whether it's cold approach or social circle. It's more powerful. That being said, I do believe that whatever works for a guy. What I'm kind of against though is the spam approach thing. You're going to go to a mall and approach 15 to 20 women in the same mall, like rapid fire, you know? That's
Oh,
where
mall's horrible.
that's where we can get dicey with this. If you're going to do day game, make them authentic approaches. I say err on the side of fewer approaches. You don't want to go to a mall and approach 20 women in a matter of an hour in all the same stores.
Yeah, it's like for me, it's like the day you walking in the park and you meet a girl and you say, "Hey, what's your name?" et cetera, et cetera. And now you insta date. They have this this phrase called incidate. And what do? Feed the ducks and buy popcorn? To me, that's brotherly love. I just, that's comfort, that's kind. I want the electricity of the potentiality. I want her to dress up and put her makeup on and go with a girlfriend and wear this can meet this guy tonight. I want my first date, my first experience to be with the electricity of the night. That's me. Because the daytime feels like it's kind of lots of comfort and lots of caring and brotherly love. That's me.
What about the idea of the power hour, Beckster?
Well, yeah, the power hour is at the end of the night, or it doesn't have to be the end of the night, but you put all your efforts into that 1 hour.
The
Imagine you
witching
want to go
hour.
home. Yeah, you want to go home early, and you're just going out and you're saying, I'm going to do power hour. I'm going to open as many sets as I can. Hopefully they stick, and then you're going to move forward. But if you're going out, I've got like 5, 6, 7 hours. Some people are out for ages. You're going to prolong them hours, and you're not going to get yourself into the abundance mentality. I always believe in getting in mode and not mood. So the mood is, I'm waiting for the mood to be right, or I'm not in the mood yet, or have a couple of drinks to get in the mood. No, if you know your structure, you're in the mode, you know your openers, you know your routines, you know your patterns, whatever you're going to say, your stories, have them, what you want to practice, what you know is tried and true, and you go out there and you just say them multiple times until it hits, and maybe it's the first set that hits. And then you know what? That set can put you in the mood. One good set can change your life. So that one good set will put you in the mood. And then all of a sudden, everything's hitting better. And that abundance mentality kicks in. And then you're doing that day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Can you imagine how much power and reference points and reference legs you have now to go out where you are the HB11 in your mindset, and it's just way easier to open. So that power hour is important to know that I'm just going to open, and then from that next set, I'm going to go to the other one and say that. It's just practice for the time when you really need it. And that practice gives you a skill set that is probably the best skill set in the world that you can possibly have, because it's going to help you in your social artist life, your pickup life, your work life, and your family life, and just relations in general of getting what you want when you're talking to people and being that person that has courage, congruency, calibration, conviction, and courage. So I think it's very important to have that power hour, because most people go, I can't be bothered to go out tonight. Well, go out for an hour. It's only an hour, right? That's an episode of Breaking Bad. Go out for an hour, open a couple of sets, and I bet you're not home in an hour. I bet you're out having fun. So power hour is important. Hi, Ross. Good to see you.
God Emperor Russ Jeffries is here. He came in. What's going on?
Oh, I lost my fur child of 16 years yesterday, so I'm
very sorry to hear that.
I'm very sorry to hear that as well, Ross.
I know, I'm just kind of stunned and trying to cope with it, but I thought I'd jump on for a minute and just
Well, come hang with us for a bit.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm outside in the sun. My only
Good to see you,
What was your
Ross.
cat's
Good
name?
to see you, buddy.
My cat's name was Purr, like vanilla with a purr in front of it, Pernilla. And she died of a heart.
Vanilla.
Yeah, she had a heart attack yesterday at the vets. So
I'm so sorry to hear that. We'll
I know.
dedicate this podcast to her.
Well, thank you. They sent me a bouquet of flowers. They were very sweet. My only contribution is, after doing this for a a couple things. First of all, my clients are now, they're now in their late 40s to their mid 60s. So their whole life is a completely different thing. And I know you guys have had success with men that age. But what I'm doing now these days, and listen to the distinction, I don't go to yoga classes because I don't bend into pretzels, but more importantly, the women all leave afterwards. But I've been going to yoga events, not yoga classes. I'm going to one coming up called Yoga and Paint, where they do a little yoga and then everyone gets together and they give you some watercolors and you all paint together. I met a really lovely girl last month who I just started seeing at a yoga mindfulness meetup. And so I'm advising my clients to go to things like that. If you're in your 50s and 60s kind of cruising anymore loses its patina, its shine. But I just want to pop in and say hey to everyone, and to say anyone who's helping men move forward in their mission to find love and to find women is an ally of mine. Beckster, it's been so long since I've seen you in England. How long has it been, sir?
6 years, maybe. And I think I talked at your first event 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Wow,
it was.
like
Well,
that.
I've been doing them longer than that.
I mean,
So
the first event I spoke to
Oh.
first. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with Kezia, I think.
A long time ago, yeah. London,
Yeah.
Hammersmith.
Well, it's good to see everybody, and I'm just going to sign off now. I just want to let everyone know I'm down, but I'm not out. I'm part Ukrainian, and if you're going to come after a Ukrainian, you better make sure that after you slit our throats, you take out all our organs, you burn them to a crisp, and chop off whatever is left and feed it to the rats, because we'll come back from the dead, reassemble like Deadpool, and kill your whole village.
Well,
Ross,
I tell you
it's
what,
good to see you, buddy.
I know that Mystery and Eric, we loved Ukraine when we were there. We loved Ukraine. It's such a shame. It was one of our best places in the world.
My fiance is Ukrainian. My fiance.
There you go. So there you go.
I'm talking about the toughness of the people. All right, loved you all.
Indeed, indeed.
Here.
Take care, man.
See you later, Ross.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All the best to Ross.
Mr. Ross Jeffries in the house.
Nice of him to drop in despite the circumstances. Strong guy though, like we did our second most recent panel back in December. We had an inner game special. So that's very fascinating for any guys who are needing some inner game advice. Check out that episode. A lot of guys do premeditated day game. They go to Washington Square Park in New York or Young Dundas Square in Toronto. They go to Oxford Street in London or Alexanderplatz in Berlin. Should day gamers do a different kind of day game instead, where they simply socialize opportunistically when going to a mall, getting groceries from the store, or going on a subway on the way to wherever you're going? What kinds of environments should guys be aiming for when doing day game?
Well, social parks where people are there's events going on in parks. There might be singers in the parks. There might be actual events going on. I don't like the idea of malls. I've tried it. I've tried every type of game, and malls just seem seedy, and it's more teenager game. The mall rat game. So I don't really recommend it. I think the only time that I really enjoyed a game in a mall is I would go to a place, a high value place in London where everything was super expensive, Harrods it's called, and I'd go to the female jewelry section and I'd wait there and I'd look at the jewelry and so on, and then every 10 seconds to a minute a new girl would come up, and quite a lot of them would be hot because it's a very high value place. And I'd lean over the shoulder and I'd say, I was chatting to Colin Farrell last night. We're in a club, and I said to him, where'd you get that jewelry? And he says, well, I don't like female jewelry. I don't like women's jewelry. I don't like men's jewelry. It's in H&M and all, and Zara and so on. And it's all very generic. I like female jewelry because it's different. Women talk about it. Women notice it. It's more bespoke. And so that's why I wear all this bizarre jewelry that looks more elaborate. And I was like, we call it peacocking, Have you heard of the theory? So anyway, what jewelry do you think I should wear out of this female jewelry that doesn't make me look, too silly? And then women would invest in that. And sometimes another woman would come in the other side or near her, and I'd introduce them into the conversation. I'd say, we're just having a discussion what jewelry would make me look good, even though it's women's jewelry. So I'd bring it in like that. That way women are coming to me. I don't like the idea of going to women on the street and so on, or following around a mall. And you can get chucked out for that. I think the biggest case I've ever heard of people getting stopped and chucked out or told off, or some problem going on with pickup, is because it's in a shop, it's in a mall. The second is in the street. It doesn't happen in a nightclub. It doesn't happen in a bar. So you're taking away that seediness and neediness, I think, if they come to you. So I think the best bet is go to a high value store if you're going to do that. Stand near the jewelry section or the female shoe section, ice white. And I have done that. I have done that, honestly.
Yeah, those
And
shoes are nasty. What you were saying about like H&M men's jewelry, that's very
no, not in
basic.
H&M
I
though.
say
Don't
this,
do it.
I say the same about women's shoes. It's just like
Yeah,
very generic,
exactly.
very boring.
You have to go to a where women that you'd be interested in will be shopping. Why would you go to H&M? There's no women that you're interested in H&M, or Zara. They're not there. You need to go to the high value stores.
There's a distinction between working a venue, like a day game venue, for the purpose of the experience, having a social experience to desensitize yourself to interactions. But to actually pick up in these scenarios, like Leicester Square in London, these women are clutching their purses tight. They've been hit on 15, 20 times already by the time you get to them, right? So, yeah, do your experiments in your day, but then you have to dress up and get to the party. You still have to get to the party. You can't forego going to the party at night because you did some day game earlier. That just warms you up for the night game.
Yeah, you can maximize your night game by getting social in the day, but don't do it all through the day. You'll be so tired that when you go out at night, you're not going to have that energy, right? And if you're doing a set correctly, it might take the energy out of you. You'll be pumped by the adrenaline, but afterwards there might be a crash, right? But that means you did it well, so don't worry. The next set can lift you up. But if you're doing twilight game, which is as the sun's slightly going down and you're meeting girls that are coming after work in the bars, or people that are some people are early going out, that's going to get you in a talkative state. That's going to get you used to being the social artist before you can go out there and be the pickup artist. And I think that's very important. Instead of walking into that big loud club all of a sudden, it can be daunting. So that slow lead up can help if you're a beginner or even intermediate sometimes. So twilight game.
If you're going to do day game, we should definitely be getting more creative with it. We're running the same direct day game opener that we've been running for 2 decades. Oh my gosh, I had to come over here and meet you. I thought you were beautiful, right? That's so played out.
Oh, it's
Everybody's
terrible.
doing it. Do your direct day game approaches a dozen times and you've got it down. Get more creative. We were on boot camp in San Diego 3 weeks ago now, and one of the students was having some approach anxiety. We passed a woman reading a Harry Potter book. And I said, "Did you read Harry Potter?" He's like, "I read every single Harry Potter book. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan." I was like, "Go talk to her about Harry Potter, man. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to approach direct. Why do we have to go direct just because it's daytime? Can't we strike up a conversation and see where it goes?" So I think for sure, if you're going to do day game, learn different styles of day game. The direct day game thing it's useful sometimes, right? If she's running down the street and you have to stop her, why are you stopping her in the middle of the street with an opinion opener? It's like, cut to the chase, show a little bit of interest, but then transition to indirect. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. And I feel like day game is typically a 1-note song. We can be much more creative with it.
I think day game's more like statement or accusation. So, for example, when I was first doing boot camps 25 years ago, I would go to where Mystery's saying Leicester Square, but near it, it's a place called Covent Garden, where there'd be lots of street acts going on in a big square, and there's loads of bars all the way around. I don't know if you remember it, Mystery. You definitely probably know it, Ice. And maybe Zan, you've probably even been there before when you were visiting us in London, in Camden and Covent Garden. But there'd be these acts on, and people be sitting around, and some people be sitting on these steps that were everywhere. And I remember back in the day, before mobile phones were so rife, women would be reading books, but they're obviously reading mobiles as well. And I'd sit next to them and I'd say, there's two different games I'd play. One is I'd be like, oh, and I'd stare at their book and I'd go, oh, until they looked at me, and then I'd say, oh, sorry about that. I wish I could read. My mum used to read to me when I was young, and I really loved it. Could you read me a page? Right? And it's just that playful stupidness that they'd fall into the frame because they know you're 90% probably taking the mick, taking the piss, but they'd play into it. And then they'd start reading. I'd be like, oh, this is lovely. Maybe put my feet up a bit. And another page. And another page. You know, my favorite book was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Do you know what I'd say to my mum when she read it all? There go, what? I say, do it again. Do it again. And then the second one would be, and they'd laugh. It's good that you laugh, means you've got a sense of humour to go over your looks. What else you got going for you? But anyway, the next bit would be, that was a mystery intro there. And the next bit would be, there was always an act playing. In every major city, there's going to be someone doing some street acts, right? Juggling, fire breathing, mime, looking like a statue. And I remember this was the best student mime breakthrough I ever had. And this guy was about 55 years old, had a strong Northern Irish accent, very hard to hear, and like some blemishes on his face, some warts, big guy, not wearing great clothes. And I'm thinking, this guy is going to be work. It's going to be work, right? But that's what we do. And so I told him exactly what to say. Go up and say to this girl, just stand next to her, over his shoulder slightly, say, oh, I hate it when my dad does this, right? And point at the act. Or I hate it when my mum does this, if it's a woman, right? But at the time, it was a guy. And he was being a mime, copying people walking and being stupid. And I was like, oh, I hate it when my dad does this. And she goes, that? And I said, like, she'll say, is that your dad? And you go, no, I'm just joking, testing if you've got a sense of humour to go over looks. And as follow through of all these things you should say for the next couple of minutes. And then say, look, it's thirsty work talking to you. Let's get a quick coffee. I can spare 5 or 10 minutes. So then you're putting her under an instant coffee date time constriction. So it's an instant date, which you need in a day. Otherwise, she's going to fly off. And you're doing an instant, and you're doing a time constraint that you don't have long. And she doesn't feel that she has to hang out with you for an hour having coffee. So she's going to feel more free to grab a quick coffee. Then you have more time to obviously tell your stories and convey your personality. So with that, I remember him passing by me, and I had another student here next to me, a young guy. And the student turned to me and went, I would. And she was like 30 years younger looking, or 25, taller than him, gorgeous. I think she was South American. And like boots on, short skirt, like beautiful. And my student went, I would. And I went, I would too. Like she was gorgeous. And he walked by me and sort of just gave me a little wink like that. And I remember there was a 3-day course. 3 days go by. And then on the Sunday, we used to teach a little bit of sexual techniques for those guys that were just really scared of pulling the trigger because they didn't know what to do. So they're keeping themselves in their comfort zone because they don't know what to do when they get the girl. So they didn't know how to be free. So we gave that point of view and what you should do. With great power comes great responsibility. And what happened is he came on the Sunday for the sexual techniques. And I was like, what are you doing here? He goes, I've come for the sexual techniques. We've been in my hotel for 3 days. It's been amazing. And I'm like, okay, great. Keep me in the loop. What's going on? 2 years later, he messages me, we're engaged. I want you to come to the wedding. And I heard later, I never went to the wedding, but I have been to scenarios before like that, engagement parties and so on. And it turns out that they have kids now and everything. Now, she's like 25 years younger, taller than him, more beautiful, probably couldn't understand him that well. But he went and did it without a care. He was the first one to open. I was like, right, who's up for doing the first opener of the boot camp? He was straight in, first girl he saw. It even blew my mind what is possible. So So yeah, day game can work for you because he got the girl of his dreams and many people's dreams for his first set. His first set. So that's what I'm saying. One good set can change your life. So I can't boo-hoo day game. I can't boo-hoo it, but I can say, as a Blaze said, do it correctly. Don't just jump in front of them and say, "Oh, I saw you over there. You look beautiful." Right? That doesn't work. That's old hat. Be creative. Necessity is the mother of all invention, and father is the creator. So just go out there and try and be a bit spontaneous with it, but know your cheat sheet. And then when you get to the nightclub, then you hit your script, and then you can be more supernatural as you get used to the responses. You get used to people, how they act and how they are around you. And then you can put in the more supernatural stuff. So yeah, my long-winded answer is day game can work for you, but you need to be creative and not be watching the Riz stuff on there, because that doesn't work.
And
I
the
want to
three
jump on.
minutes to phone number. That is what teenagers do. Within 3 minutes of meeting a girl, they'll already try to get her contact information. Why not hold back and wait for her to close you? Just run the set for a longer period of time, conveying more personality. Of course, you're non-threatening and you're in a playful mood on the open, and they can see that by your delivery. But go longer than 3 minutes. Why not get to know her? That's a part of pickup.
That's actually something that you're a master at, Mystery. And I'm in set with you the most, right? And he's in set, and he's not. It's been an hour, and he's not asked for the number. It's been 2 hours. He's not asked for a number. I'm like, when's he going to ask? And then finally, she asks for the contact detail, and I'm like, you held your call so long, and there was no way of telling. And I was like, he must have forgot. He must have forgot, because ABC always be closing, right? But it's like he's forgot. And no, the power of her closing you is so amazing. It's so powerful and so memorable for her because she's not used to it. So she's hinting like, oh, maybe we should swap contact details. And Mystery's like, even better than that. And then goes into a big story about something else, qualifies her, maybe throws a neg in, does some illusion. And then she's like, well, you still didn't get my Instagram. And it's like, yeah, but another thing before we go there, enough about me. What do you think about me? And then she's just like, shit, this guy's never going to give me your number.
This reminds me too of the importance of not asking questions that are too personal right off the bat. She doesn't want to tell you where she lives. She just met you 2 seconds ago when you said she was pretty. Don't ask where she lives. Don't ask what her name is. Don't ask where she goes to school.
Those are all qualifiers.
Those are for deeper into the set.
So is there anything you can say in terms of the closing thing? Is funny because when me and Mystery did the 4.5 hour interview, which was crazy, I remember Mystery saying, so many guys overlook or forget about the advantage, kind of paraphrasing here, of having a woman chase you. So how do you kind of make room for that, or give her the opportunity to chase?
Well, she can't chase you unless you do a takeaway. If you stay in set and pay attention to her the whole time, she has no opportunity to chase you. You have to say, let's agree to disagree, Neil Strauss style, return to friends. And in that void, she can then come and chase you. You have to be able to take yourself away to be chased. And so that's what I do in my sets is I play the high valued male, I play the prize, and I give her the gift of the chase several times throughout my courtship timeline. That's how I do it. I may not kiss the girl in C1 in the first comfort stage. I may not kiss her in C1. I may wait till C2 to kiss her. I may not kiss her in C2. I may wait till C3 to kiss her. It's not up to me to decide when I'm going to kiss her. It's up to her to decide when she wants to be kissed. So if it doesn't happen in pickup, maybe I'll do it on my day 2 in mid game. And if it doesn't happen in mid game, well, maybe it'll happen in end game as I escalate to seduction. It's up to her, not me.
Beckster, what you were saying about pretending not to be able to read, that was hilarious to me because one of the funniest things I ever seen is in the movie 50 First Dates, Adam Sandler is doing that. He pretends he can't read the menu. It's just the funniest thing I ever fucking seen when that movie first came out.
What's the matter with him?
Looked like a stupid asshole to me.
Okay. I didn't mean to startle you.
Oh, that's all right.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm having a problem with something, but...
Is it something that I can help you with?
No. I just can't read. You gotta be kidding me.
Here, I can read the
Oh,
menu.
no. Thank you. I can do this on my own. Appreciate the sentiment. I'm gonna get an order of the... Tiny pew.
Pan.
Who? Pancake. Panclocks.
Pancakes.
Okay, I'll have pancake.
Pancake.
Pancakes. I'm so stupid.
Don't cry.
Stupid.
Don't cry.
I don't know anything.
What a loser.
I'll tell you what, why don't you come over there with me? You can have some breakfast and I'll help teach you some of the words.
Okay.
All right.
That sounds nice.
Come on over.
Okay,
All
thank you.
right.
It's just so. Is that where you got it from?
No, I was doing that like 20. It was my first boot camps back in the day when it was School of Seduction. It was before I was director of PUA training. So it was like 25 years ago, something like that. And that was stuff I got into teaching because a company, I wasn't doing it for myself. I was just on a forum. I was going out. People would come and watch me. I was gaming with loads of wingmen. And then I went to a free talk someone was doing. And then people were gathering around me and they were like, this guy goes, oh, do you want to be our head coach for School of Seduction? And it was literally the first school in England teaching pickup. And that was one of my tactics because we'd have to do day game and night game. So we'd be doing both, day, lecture, night. And that's how, and so, yeah, I mean, I started out with day game because the first thing I ever heard was Ross Jeffries stuff. And that's day game within reason. So that's how I had to start. There was no other way. But I am a night creature. I'm a night owl. I live in the night. I thrive in the night. I thrive in busy environments. I thrive throwing people together and commanding big groups and, running events and so on. That's where I live because of my high energy. That's where I have to be, So going out in the day was just another part of me, like was my beginning of it before I had to go, right, I need night game in my life. I didn't know it was called night game, by the way, but I need night game in my life. But I know that Mystery defined day and night game, direct and indirect. So day, night, direct, indirect. Right? That's correct, isn't it? You defined it.
Theory versus group
approach
theory as well. Just 3 dimensions here.
Yeah, so no, I didn't get it from that, and I have seen the film, and I don't remember it in the film, but that makes me want to watch the film again. It's that I know the main character. I can half picture him.
No, it's so fucking
dark
funny.
hair guy. Yeah, no, I'll watch it because I'll use that, and that's the thing. Like Mystery knows, and we do it a lot. But if I hear something, my next set, if I like it, my next set, I'm going to say that. I'm going to field test it immediately. Field test it, and then I'm going to tweak it. and bend it and shape it to how I want. And because I'm going to get the auto responders that they're going to say from that, and I'm going to build on that. And what's my response to that? And then it's locked in, as one of my cheat sheets in my head.
If you do
One
a
of my
dozen
openers,
sets, if you do a dozen sets in a night, you've got a learning curve. So that's how we do it. We come up with new material. We're talking to some girls. They say something unique, and we'll just capture that moment. And when we open the next set, we throw that new material in to field test it, just to see if it works. You can use the same gambit or comedic game piece all night long until by the end of the night, you've got your delivery down. It's really honed and polished. So what we want to do is collect gambits or game pieces and hone them to sharpen them, polish them. We want to do that for each of our gambits so we don't have ahs, or awkward pauses that disrupt the flow of our interaction.
Yeah, so for example, when people go, "Oh, I do natural game," or "I'm a natural," or "I don't need help with pickup," that's stupid to me. There is natural game, but natural game is a way of being. The 5 C's that I mentioned earlier. That's a way of being, right? I am the HB11. I do have confidence, congruency, calibration, conviction, and courage. That's a way that I've seen of these top club promoters and people of celebrities and so on that I've been mingling with for many years. And that's a way of being. Natural isn't going, I'm going to say something different every set I go in. Because even though you go, yeah, first though, and I say, so what is it you do say if you say something spontaneous? And you can do that, right? Topical or so on, or situational. But they go, well, the first thing I go, hi. Or, hi, my name is Ken, right? Well, that's a routine. It's a shit one, but that's a routine. Hi. That's the most used opener I've ever heard in my life. Hi. So they are using openers. So I don't believe when someone goes, well, I'm trying to be. Yeah, every set you're going to say something different every set and hope that works. When you could use tried and tested stuff that actually works, that works on the girl that you actually fancy, and not just try and make something up on the spot, which you can do. But it's better be fucking good, and you better follow up with something that's interesting. And if you got to do that 12 times a night, then good luck to you. You must be Russell Brand or Jimmy Carr, because it's not going to happen, brother.
If it's funny once, it'll be funny again. If you say a joke a second time with another group and you don't get the laugh, it's your fault. Your delivery was at fault. It wasn't the material. It's good material. It made someone laugh in the past. Use it again until it incorporates into your repertoire of material that you use in all sets to get them laughing.
So would you say, Mystery, that...
Hang on, Beckster. That's a good quote.
Go for it.
Attributed to you. If it was funny once, it's funny again. It could be funny. It will be funny again.
No, there's so much truth in that.
I'm going to remember that. That's a good quote.
I used to do a bit of stand-up comedy, and I learned my landlord. We were part of a game house. Game house is like Project Hollywood, basically. But when I was living in the game house, the landlord who owned the house and was a gamer himself, he was a stand-up comedian, and he got me into stand-up comedy a little bit. I dabbled in it. I did stop doing it relatively quickly, but I did very well in my first one, and I fucked up my second one because I was so unprepared. My material for the good one was great, but the point is, when comedians do all these tours, they like to do their micro tours first, and they have this material that they're testing, and every city they're going to, they're testing this material all over and over again, and they make adjustments as the tour goes on. And then when they have their more global or national tour, they'll still do these national tours at a micro level to test their material. So Ricky Gervais does this. I went to one of his tester things where he's trying to figure out what the punchline. He knows what the punchline is. He's just figuring out how to get there. these comedians just test their material all over and over again. So that's literally how it works. I got to learn. It's just crazy to me once I learned that.
And
The
people
pickup
should see that way. Go on,
the
Eric.
pickup arts is a performing art. So just like a comedian, just like a magician, you got to get up on stage, perform something, and then when you get off stage, people will treat you differently if they've seen your act and it was good. So as a pickup artist, know that you're a performing artist and you need some material to perform if you're going to fill the timeline effectively.
Wasn't the opener word derived from the opening of a comedian opening the act?
That's right. The opener is the first joke you use in comedy. That's where the word opener came from.
And they had a cheat sheet, right? On the stool when they get a drink.
Your repertoire of material, and you just tape it to the bar stool with your drink. And every once in a while, you can go back, take a drink, look at your list, and cue up the next story that you're going to run, the next comedic bit.
And
so with your phone, you'll be like, "Oh, I've just got a text. Oh yeah, now you've got the next three openers to talk about." Oh, it's my mum.
Well, there's also heckling, which is kind of like shit testing, I guess you could say. If a comedian gets heckled, they could come up with a comeback to throw back at them. You mentioned Jimmy Carr. I think that's the name of the guy. He seems to be pretty good at that to a crazy level. If you want my comeback, you can wipe it off your mom's teeth. That kind of thing. He has the craziest ones. It's pretty funny watching all these. There are some great ones based in New York and others. It's just fucking, it's so creative. That's why I recommend, there was someone asking this in the chat. I recommend just trying stand-up comedy because that really helped my game. I was funny only to my family when I was younger, and then stand-up comedy helped me become funny to everyone else because to everyone else before that, I was just goofy, not funny, had lame jokes and shit like that, or I just wouldn't even attempt it in the first place. So that's my recommendation.
I'm interested to hear Zan's take on the question of how to get a woman to pursue you and creating space for her to come to you. I'd like to say something on it as well, but I would like to hear Zan's take.
Yeah, I mean I'm very simple in that I express. So if you ask for a woman's Instagram or her phone number, they will and guys know this. We'll just pull out your phone and and the woman will give it reluctantly because they don't really want you to contact them the next day when you send them a text. Hey, it was me. I was wearing the pink shirt and blah blah blah. They're not interested in that. They'll get followers. They'll accept you. So my whole thing is if she basically what Mystery said, if she gives you the contact information, she will never quote unquote flake. She will never flake. So in other words, my expression is just like, hey, it was nice talking to you. I would like to see you again. Statement. I would like to see you again. Zip. If she's interested, she's going to say, okay, do you have a phone number? Can I give you my Instagram? If she offers you contact information, not because you asked for it, my take is if she offers you contact information, she will answer you and she will never flake because she offered it to you. Same things what Mystery, what you said is just like, or what you Beck just said about Mystery. Just keep sitting in the energy. And if she offers you the contact information, I never ask for it ever. I never say, hey, do you have a phone number? Can I call you? Are you free Thursday? I never ask that. I just say, hey, I like talking to you and I would like to talk to you some more. That's all I know. I'm excited. Are you excited? Because I'm excited. Let's go. And then you shut up. If you can zip and sit in tension, then she's either going to say 80%, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of women can say, well, I'm married, I have a boyfriend, I'm engaged, I can't, not interested. I'm leaving on a plane tomorrow. But 20% will say, okay, do you have Instagram? And if they do that, you're 100%, you can text her, she's going to answer. I don't want to like bleed myself out trying to like, okay, what should I say next? And I texted her, she didn't answer. Or she said, it was nice to meet you too. And I wait another day and I send her another text and it just dribbles out into nothing and energy drain. So I'm always setting it up in a way. I don't ask for any contact information. I say, I would like to see you again. That's all I know. And let her contribute. If she steps into it, she's excited, or she's at least contributing. That's why I see it.
There's definitely poker, isn't there? And no pun intended.
Yeah, I don't
But who's
ask.
going to show their hand first, right?
But I invite it. I don't just say, okay, well, it's nice to meet you. I say, listen, there's something about you. I got to go back to my friends, Mystery and Blaze over there, but I like you and I would like to see you again. Zip. If you can sit in that tension, it's incredible because you just said something strong, and that's my take on it. And 80% will say, like, well, it's nice. I'm married. Thank you, but I can't. And 20% will say, okay, well, okay, that's your friends over there. Okay, well, do you have Instagram? And then she will never quote unquote flake. I do not want to just chase around numbers, Instagram, etc. So that's my take on it. I say something strong, I invite, and then I want her to contribute by saying, okay, here's my contact information. Then I'm good.
If you offer and she bites, she's more likely to bite again, essentially. That's interesting to think about. Yeah, you put it in a very nice way. Alrighty,
Yeah, I want her to step forward because I'm excited. I'm pretty excited about life. You guys hang out with me. You guys saw me in Bucharest. I'm pretty excited. I'm happy. I'm like happy when this girl's around. I'm like a little boy. I love it. Let's go.
Female
Potentiality.
energy.
Yeah, female energy. And so I
Yeah, I don't
express that.
understand that negative stuff these days.
I express it, and but I want her to have that same expressive energy too. That's why the whole thing of like last minute resistance, get a girl into bed and convince her, give her a drink, and I want her to be excited because I'm excited. Let's go. Look at you. Let's go. I want her to have the same. So I'm always looking for that same expressive return of, yeah, I see you and I believe the same thing as you. Let's go. And if I don't have that, I don't want to convince anybody. That's what I don't want to do is convince. Not interested.
Zan, would you do instant dates? What's the step after that? If she's like well into it, instead of just getting a number and going away,
never. I've never.
What's the next thing that you?
Well, like for me, day game is this. Back in the day, I don't remember if you guys remember Paul Janka in New York City. Remember him, Mystery?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah.
He had, because New York City is like, let's go. The women are on a mission. Don't waste my time. So he invented this. He carved out his own niche of the way he did it. Where he'd go up to him and say, "Listen, time constraint, right? I can't talk long, but I want to say hi to you. I would like to see you again. How do I find you? Statement. Done." And she's like, "Okay, here's my number. Blah blah blah." And he did that because of the nature of Manhattan. But that to me, that's day game. I do not want to like insta-date and go for popcorn and feed the ducks and buy a balloon and let it go together. For me, that's it's this brotherly love. I want her to meet her in the day, say, listen, I'd like to see you, contact information. I gotta go. And then you invite her out for the evening. Now she's gonna go with the girlfriend and say, okay, this guy invited me out. I didn't know what to wear. Help. And she's helping her with the makeup and she's sequins and she's trying to, and there's electricity into that. And then when you do see her my first date has to be evening because she comes and here she is and she wore a little short skirt for you. And there's now an intimate sexual connotation to it, which you would not find if you were like, insta-dating for an hour, having a coffee in the afternoon. And you said it earlier, you might meet you might marry the girl that you meet and feed the ducks with or go for coffee with. You might marry her. You might find the girl of your dreams. It's not my style, man. I like neon. I like the boom 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 energy. I like it. And here she comes and she's all excited and she decided what she's going to wear with her girlfriend and and came to see you in a certain way. I like the feeling of that. That's me.
See, this is the difference I think between the people on this panel and obviously other people, but not the majority of the recent pickup artists. And I call recent pickup artists the people that have joined in the last 15 years. That we actually love women. We love the interaction. We love the game. We love the social nurse. We don't have to get anything out of it. Willingness to walk away, freedom from outcome. But people in the modern era are like, what can I get out of her? She's a bitch. I hate women. And you're doing it wrong. It's inverted.
And I should say this. There's the majority of guys, I think, especially older guys, they do not want to go into the evening. They want to have like a day expression. They want to go meet a woman in the day. And so I don't want to be unfair to them because they don't want to go to a club with music and boom, boom, boom and drinks and stuff like that. That's my style. I'm this creature of the night. I like it, like I'm an alley cat, where some other guys may not be, and they may not understand what I'm trying to say. And I'm not trying to advocate that you should go out on the night only, not at all. I don't know how to do
Yeah,
day
you
game.
can play all
I
levels of
need
game.
boot camps from you guys, man. I need some lessons, man. I don't know how to do it. What am I supposed to say?
I think
Me
that
please.
night game translates to day game. You get loads of more experiential moments in night game, and all that experience you can take to day game.
Well,
Sure,
you
you'll
said it, Mister.
yeah.
You ping off of you ping pong. You're bouncing, you're moving. There's a vibrational movement here, then an in and out there, and where if you meet some girl in the park and she's walking her dog, you have to kind of be static and kind of like interact it's you have to have rapport. And for me, I don't want rapport with girls unless it's my girl. This is you know.
What's your dog opener? Would you say I was the leading lassie or something? What's your
The dog and open.
I was the
That's
leading
me.
lassie.
So the guy should never ever listen to me because most guys I think prefer the idea of meeting women in the day, like at a park or for sure, or on the
I
mall or
have
the
to be,
boulevard.
if I'm gaming in a day, I have to be a bit ridiculous. That's how I see it. For example, on boot camp, I bring a dog collar with a handle, which is in metal. So it looks like there's an invisible dog. And then I go near, whoa, near women, and away from the mean lady. Oh, don't worry about the mean lady. And it just gets a laugh. It is just your women coming up and stroking your invisible dog. Oh, he likes it when you do that, but don't touch his willy. Like things like, it's just brilliant. It works so well. And it really gets people out of their comfort zone to give them that, because it is quite daunting walking down the street with an invisible dog collar, right? So that's the sort of vibe I want to do. I want to be just a bit more different in the day, because I find the day, to be honest, quite boring.
So I just want to say, Zan is right. We did a poll on this, which types of game people do the most. 60%, most popular one, day game, 42% night game, 18% social circle game, 19% message game. Although I would say message game is kind of
I think
undervoted
that's a
here.
lie. I think they're lying about that.
Yeah.
The message game is going to be way higher.
No, because it is because in society, more than 50% of relationships now are coming from message game, from online dating in general. So social media or dating apps or anything else that is online. More than 50%, according to the recent set of Stanford studies by Michael J. Rosenfeld. How couples?
Some people need
saturated.
some people need a conduit to get into night game, because it is daunting going into a nightclub. There's beautiful women everywhere that the promoters have brought for you, right? So it is super daunting, and you're like, shit. You realize your clothes are crap compared to people. Your fashion needs sorting out. So it's daunting, that first step in. How do I get in the club? I know Mystery's got a story about that as well, how he didn't know that a membership club you could get into. But it is daunting. And for me, it's not, because I lived in that environment. But I did start out in day game, and I didn't know that you could get into a members club. So I started hanging around with lots of hot girls because I was approaching all the time. And then the clubs would invite me in and then say, look, if you keep coming every week, we'll pay you. We'll give you a table. We'll give you drinks. Eventually, it came to my own night, and I was doing clubs everywhere. But how do you initially get into that? Well, you initially have to go to the bars and even the streets or the parks and start talking to these girls to get some social circle friends, to get some girls, to get some wingmen that you feel comfortable enough to go into that club. Or you can stop being a pussy and you could just go in the club and do your 10 sets with the openers that you've been given by somebody or read online or watched on a podcast, and just get in mode and say them and say them and say them until your delivery gets down and they're coded in your head, and you can just do it. So there's two ways of doing it. You have to build your social circle before you get in the club, or you're just going to have to stop being a pussy and get in mode and just say the openers, because eventually it will work. And sometimes it works, as I said before, on your first opener. So you don't know. You just got to go and do it.
Me,
So
me and
Blaze,
Blaze
it's
were
hard to do that.
me and
Blaze, you
Blaze
said
were
you had a thought on. You said you wanted to say you didn't get a chance. You asked
Oh
me a
yeah,
question.
I had a few thoughts to share on the idea of uh, getting the woman to chase or drawing the woman
Yeah,
to
okay.
us.
There you go.
This kind of ties into the debate that I had on ICE's channel, Fast Escalation versus Solid Game. There's a trend right now in the dating advice industry, pickup community toward fast escalation. The idea that we should be constantly progressing things forward. We should try to get to sex as quickly as possible. When we get to sex very quickly, we somehow disarm the woman and take away her main bargaining chip.
Hmm.
You know, women walk away from 30-year marriages with kids and assets to be split up. You know, I do think there's something compelling about having a sexual experience with somebody. That's pretty inarguable. You know, we don't have sexual experiences with everyone that we meet. So when we do have a sexual experience, there's something compelling there. But similar to what you were saying, Zan, the best way to overcome last minute resistance is to not get it in the first place. I don't want to have to objection handle. I want everything to be nice and smooth. So my model that I've created is called the vortex of love, to be more specific. It's shaped like a funnel. And the shape of the funnel is to remind guys that there are forces beyond our control at work here. So if I execute a tactic or a technique of some sort, I want to sometimes do that and then let it settle in, hold that tension, as you said, Zan. And when you do that, you allow the natural spiraling of attraction to start to take hold. So, you know, it's the opposite of smothering. You know, Bruce
Hmm.
Lee said, be like water, right? Water flows into all the cracks and so forth. But Bruce Lee was talking about the martial arts, the Venusian arts, the arts of love. We almost want to be the opposite of that. We want to create empty space for the woman to draw herself to us. So that's what the shape of my model represents. There are 4 elements as well that are a part of my model, and those give us more objective targets, if you will, to aim for. So it reminds us that the nature of the game is paradoxical in a lot of ways. We want to be proactive, and at the simultaneously we want to allow the universe to unfold things for us. So I think the more guys can get into that mindset of kind of holding contradictory thoughts and concepts at the same time, the more you tap into that sweet spot in the middle that seems to work best for me. Some guys are more proactive. They like to game very proactively. So be it. You lead, you push things forward. Some guys are very withdrawn, and whatever floats their way, floats their way. I've found that middle ground is where the magic really happens for me.